Okay, so Evan has no idea what I'm going to present today, so I'm going to tell him and you guys. There's a lot of great stuff written on how to write headlines. And using that formula, you can come up with some solid, hard-hitting headlines. But I haven't seen too many people talk about what I consider to be the next level of headline. Okay, so you guys have heard Evan talk about emotional motivators, hot buttons, the things that really stand out and can move your prospect to take action and buy. So I want to talk about how to insert those in your headlines, the emotional stuff, and go beyond the benefit type of headlines, and really grab someone and suck them into your letter. Okay, so what we're staring at here is one of our highest converting sales letters. It's for our Double Your Dating Advanced Series program, Advanced Dating Techniques, and we came up with what I consider to be a pretty strong benefit-ridden headline. It's, we'll read it out loud. So, who else wants an in-depth, behind-the-scenes, fast-track education in female psychology and sexual attraction combined with an intensive boot camp-style personalized training with step-by-step techniques for overcoming fear, approaching women, getting emails and phone numbers, setting up dates, and getting physical with women? I mean, there's some benefits in there. You're going to learn a couple things by going through this. But this is what I consider to be kind of a traditional headline. It's stacked with benefits. It tells a lot about what you're going to learn. But and while it converts well, I think there's another level. And Evan and I wrote a lot of sales letters for there was a 2-year period where we were coming up with one of these things a month. We were launching a product every month for the dating businesses. And we kind of, evolved, I think, our process into, coming up with some stuff that hits even harder. All right, here's just another example of a traditional headline. This is for our body language program. I'd like to teach you the direct method of communication with women called body language that will get her to notice you, feel attraction for you, and even approach you. Great benefits in there. But again, traditional stuff. All right, so next step. This is where I think we really came into our form here and hit the next level with these headlines. Do you remember this one?
Yes, I do.
If you don't know what your man is thinking, then he's probably thinking of leaving. You already know that when a man closes up or stops sharing, it's a bad sign. Here's how to find out exactly what's going on inside of his head. Then use that information to not only reignite his love and passion for you, but also create a deep, intimate connection between the two of you that lasts a lifetime, regardless of what you've been through, and even if he's already considering moving on. And I remember when we were talking about this product. This product, as you can see, was a product for women about how to better communicate with their man in a secure relationship.
So this is an example of a concept that took us plus another person, multiple conversations, a lot of thinking, there's brainstorming that's going on behind the scenes to arrive at something like this. This is a process of a lot of people who are very smart marketers working on this for it to get here. And when you read it, you go, if you don't know what your man is thinking, then he's probably thinking of leaving. It sounds so simple. Doesn't it just sound incredibly simple? Right? How powerful is that? Women? That's a big one. Why is it so powerful? What is it about it that's powerful?
Who said that? Yeah, that was great. She said, because we're reading their minds.
And because, what did the other one say? It's our biggest fear.
Yes.
Okay. Now, did I say I'm reading your mind? And did I say I know what your biggest fear is? Nope. There's something that's woven within this that is very, very subtle. Very, very, very subtle. Can anyone see what it is? What is it about this that's really subtle? Just yell it out.
It feels like you're
Feels like a friend whispering in your ear. Okay. What else? It's actually something that is very prominent in a woman's experience. Women are always wondering what their man is thinking. Do you follow me? Women want to know what's going on with him because men and women think differently. So women actually have the corpus callosum inside of a woman's brain that connects the two sides is actually much bigger than a man's. So women tend to be more balanced in terms of physical, logical, emotional. Their brains communicate better, and men don't as much. And so we tend to be like on one side or the other, one direction or the other. And so we're different. And so women are always trying to interpret it all. Like, what does that body language mean, and what more than men? And what is a woman's deepest fear? My mentor taught me that it's that she can't hold on to a good man. Right? She can't hold on to him, can't keep him around. And so after going through all of that and wordsmithing and messing with it, we realized that, so the woman's wondering what he's thinking. I'm trying to figure out, what is he thinking? What is he thinking? What does that mean? And what the reason why she wants to know so bad is what? Because she wants to know if he's thinking of leaving. That's actually what's underneath it. That's primally what she wants to know. Is anything wrong? And so pushing that button directly by saying, if you don't know what he's thinking, then he's probably thinking of leaving. It's the next level.
Really
that's
is.
what it is.
And you can see, too, we didn't scrap the benefits. They're in there in the subhead, but just the way that the headline opens their mind, it opens them up to like hearing that now they're going to learn all these benefits as well, and it's going to be the solution there. It really lets them know that we got the goods. It's kind of like Jay Abraham says, if you can describe someone's problem better than they can, they automatically credit you with the solution.
Yep.
And that's really kind of what we're doing here is that's, we know that the problem is that she's thinking about him and worries that he's leaving, so we're just nailing it, And then when you add in all those benefits, I don't think anyone could take a look at this and not at least read the sales letter,
Yeah, it's a good road to go down. Craig is talking about the next level of sophistication, even beyond what we were talking about. One, you talk to their pain, to their hot button. You talk to it directly. Maybe number two, you talk a little bit more situationally about what would cause that so you get it so that you're an insider. This comes from multiple people who really think like prospects and are constantly thinking like prospects, trying to find that one motivator and figuring out how to stack all that motivation, right, and put it all together in the shortest, most concise message. So if you want to emulate this, you might ask yourself, what is my prospect's biggest secret fear? Okay, so what is my prospect's biggest secret fear? As an example, let's say, let's say that you sell debt consolidation, and you help people who have a lot of credit card debt consolidate their credit card debt. You could say annoying debt collectors, okay, or even aggressive debt collectors, or even evil debt collectors interrupting your family. You follow? And you could get in there and press the emotional hot button, but you could take that up to the next level by asking yourself, okay, what's the situation? And you might then say, it's dinner again, the phone is ringing. Will your child answer another embarrassing call from a debt collector and find out that daddy's a loser? And go, oh, okay, that's right. That's like situational. That pulls me in. But then we could even go to the next level and we could say, what is daddy's secret fear?
Yeah, think of the things that, what are they afraid to admit to themselves as well?
See, what's the secret? It's so brutally power. It's like their whole life can be destroyed. So what is that person's secret fear? Can't feed his family, go to jail. I think it's probably, social services shows up and takes the children. Right? That's the one, but it's real. This is what people whose lives are falling apart because they're in too much debt, this is what they think about. And so that's when you might say, and you've got to be careful with this stuff, obviously. Okay, you need to use your ethical thermometer. And when I talk about how sometimes this stuff is challenging for me, and it's a weird area, and sometimes it's not my very favorite thing to do because you have to get in there and really figure out where you stand on this. Again, you have to be very careful. You then want to consider, and I'm not saying you want to say this, but you want to consider if it's appropriate to say, you might be wondering if being in too much debt could have your children taken from you, ... It can, and it will.
But there's hope.
But there's hope. You follow?
Yeah, I actually even had a situation from my own life that I don't mind sharing. When I was younger, I started making some good money doing sales, and I was working as an independent contractor, so I was getting paid, just flat checks, and they weren't taking out taxes. And, being the young, dumb guy I was, I just spent all the money. End of the year came around, I didn't have any money for taxes. And,
No one here has ever had that happen, right? Okay. Only the people that laughed.
Yeah, so, and then, next year came around, I'm just like, okay, I'll file an extension or whatever. So I filed an extension, and then, pretty soon, another year has passed, and I got the same job, and, shoot, I still don't have any money for taxes. So, I didn't learn my lesson. This went on for 3 years. And, it was kind of just the one thing that was always riding in the back of my mind that, what could happen. And now I've gotten that taken care of, but I'll say I never even really allowed myself to think about what could have been the consequences. I really could have had the IRS knocking on my door with the police and, taking me in because, I owed a fair amount of money. Look at Wesley Snipes, and the survivor guy, Richard Hatch. You got to pay them taxes. They'll find you. So, but I never even thought about that. And I actually never even really thought about it until right now, sitting on stage, about what really could have happened if I hadn't gotten that taken care of,
Craig's trying to communicate something that I didn't know you were going to talk about this. I consider this to be a very advanced concept that I would not have taught until much later, but I think we can dig into it, and I think everybody's capable of getting it. The worst problems, the ones that our clients are really dealing with, they're so psychologically traumatic that we lie to ourselves, we deceive ourselves, we block. Did you hear what he said? It actually takes a lot of maturity to be able to come up here and say and tell a story like that and to, come out in the light, so to speak, and to say, I never even allowed myself to think about what the real consequences might be. Notice when you're having something that's a problem, and notice when you're not facing. The issue is facing, staring right into it and saying, let me go see what it is. A lot of medical problems, this is the issue. Okay, doctors, go ahead.
Yeah, the weight loss thing is very obvious. How many times has everybody here eaten something that's bad for you and just I'm going to put it out of my mind, or I'm on vacation or whatever, when you just go on a binge or something like that, you're not actually thinking of the true health consequences. And some of the best letters I've seen in the weight loss market do talk about how people are dying from heart attacks and things like that at young ages that are, just eating the wrong stuff and actually hitting on that, real stuff that, the person's not thinking about when he's eating that piece of pizza. But, it's there in the back of his mind, but he just doesn't allow that to, come to the surface,
Exactly.
The pizza's in front of him right here. The problems are back there. If you ask someone that's about to eat the, large extra cheese pizza, hey, do you know that it's possible to, clog up your arteries with that stuff and you could actually die and have a heart attack? Do you know that really happens to people? They know it. They know that it happens, And
but who's it not going to happen to tonight?
Right.
Them. right? One more piece of pizza isn't going to push me over the edge to the heart attack. It's the attitude that one more piece of pizza is not going to push me over to the heart attack that gives you the heart attack.
Yep. Oh, and something I wanted to mention also for, to get you started writing headlines, if you're new at this, my favorite source is Tested Advertising Methods by John Caples. He's got some great formulas for coming up with that, this hard-hitting, benefit-driven headlines. And that's a good start, to come up with some of those and then try to put that twist on it that takes it to the next level.
Spell out his name. It's a little weird.
It's John, John, Caples, Kaples.
C-A-P. That
Should
too.
have you spell it. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let me try it. John, J-N-H-O, Caples, C-A-P-L-E-S.
Hey, this is a testament, though, that anyone can write great copy because I can't even spell.
Well, or pay your taxes.
That's that's right. So let's look at another example.
Hey, I've been, I think I was 1 or 2 years behind in my taxes at one point too, and I remember. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's that feeling of coming home and I see a FedEx on my doorstep, and I'm like, oh, they found me.
Oh, yeah, that would happen to me. I get the certified letter, is what it was, from the IRS. It would happen like once a year, and I get the certified letter, but, oh, shoot, okay, I really got to get this handled. I got to go call an accountant tomorrow and all that, and I put it on the desk, and then, I don't know if it was an accident or not, but, somehow a magazine ends up on top of it, and I forget about it. Maybe I was even doing that subconsciously, so I didn't even have to think about it.
Tony Schwartz says, humans have an infinite capacity for self-deception. We have an infinite capacity for self-deception.
That's a great quote.
So that magical thing that's the real issue, and it's the actual worry, like Craig said, that distinction is so subtle and so important. It's in the back of their mind. It's there. They don't really want to look at it, but if you hold it up for them, they will realize, oh, wow, it could happen. See, when they don't know and they haven't looked into it, they don't really know whether or not the police could show up and take them to jail. They don't really know whether they could actually die. They don't know that if he probably is thinking of leaving.
Yeah, it's like...
they've got an out in their brain.
Have you ever seen the packs of cigarettes that you buy from Canada?
I have not.
When you buy cigarettes in Canada, actually they have pictures of dead babies and black lungs on the cigarette packs. We've got the Surgeon General's warning, but in Canada there's actually photos. And it's like if you could take a cigarette smoker and show him an actual photo of his lungs while he's having that, and have that video playing while he's smoking. I think he'd probably put that out real quick. But it's I think that's one of the best cases of denial right there is with smokers, and I'm one of them, so I can talk about it.
We're going to just call him Honest Craig from now on.
That's right.
After Honest Dave. Craig, thank you very much.
It's funny though. It's like It's funny though. I almost feel shameful admitting I'm a smoker right now.
You should.
Yeah. But that's the emotion though that you want to get about. Think about those things. What is it? And maybe if you were writing something to stop smoking, you could write something like, what would your parents and think if they knew that you were smoking a pack a day or something like that? Or what would your doctor say, or your children? What would your children say if they knew that you were taking off years of your life and probably theirs as well by having that cigarette habit or something like that? I think those ideas actually fine-tuned could make an amazing headline for a stop smoking product.
Yeah, it's like, could the cigarettes that you smoke kill your child's chances of going to college? Because you're going to die and not have any money to, find the leverage point. The leverage point is always there if you're willing to talk to your customers, be empathic, be compassionate, find out where they're at. And again, this is some ethically sticky ground. You've got to be careful here. If you're doing it to manipulate someone, you're going to marketing hell, and you should. But if you're, like in this case, if you don't know what your man is thinking, he's probably thinking of leaving. This is written for a woman who suspects that her man is on the way out, and she's looking for help. And you know what? I've had a little experience in this one. If a woman's intuition is saying he's looking elsewhere, I don't know, women have pretty good radar for these kind of things, and hey, it's probably right on.
Yeah. So next example, I want to talk about how you can take a general emotional motivator that someone is having and tailor it towards a specific product that you're selling. Like maybe take a basic human need or human button. So for the example, in our women's dating business, we put together, or I should say Christian Carter Chance put together a program to help women with their self-esteem and confidence. It was called Ready for Love. And, we were trying to think of what's the area around that we could zero in on, and we thought of, a good, general hot button that's universally true for all women, and that is that, every woman always thinks about meeting their soulmate. Everyone wants to meet their soulmate. So we were thinking, how could we, use that and to talk about this self-esteem issue? So
I remember that when we figured out that one too.
Yeah. So we thought about and then what's the irrational fear around meeting the soulmate? And I guess the irrational fear that we thought was pretty powerful is, what if you met your soulmate and they weren't into you? The person and everyone's going to have that experience too, where you're dating someone and, you think, oh, this girl is great, this guy's great, or whatever, everything's perfect about them, and they just dump your ass. And you're like, what's going on? This is perfect. We're so good together. Raise your hand if that's happened to you. If you had someone that you just thought was great, you guys were awesome together, and then they just
Wait a minute. How come all the men raise their hands?
I've had that happen with so many times. I think that happened with the first probably 5 girls I dated.
Right. Now think again. Are you going to talk, or can I jump in? Okay. So think again what Craig's talking about here and how this is the next level. Okay. A woman who's idealistic and I'm ready for my soulmate. I'm ready to find him. I'm ready for him to show up. I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready for children. She really, in the back of her mind, she's not facing the issue, probably, that if she were ready, he would show up, right? And they would be connected, or the people around her would be looking for that right guy and kind of help connect them together. If she was that spectacular, probably. So it might be a little seed of an idea, but what that woman who's very idealistic really hasn't considered, really hasn't taken to heart, is that she may not have developed herself to the point where when he is there, he will recognize her as that immediately.
Yeah, that's kind of what we brought together with the subhead as well. I'll just read the whole thing out. Could it really be possible that your soulmate, the one man in the world you're meant to be with, would not feel the same way about you? Now, that wouldn't stand on its own, though. So we said, sadly, the answer is yes. But it's not because he doesn't love you. I mean, what kind of, mind warp is that? It's not because he doesn't
love you. Spoken like a true copywriter.
Or even because you're not the perfect woman for him. Wait a second, you could be the perfect woman for him and he might not, Read on to discover the reason why so many women end up unhappy, emotionally unfulfilled, and cause the man of their dreams to lose interest in them or even pass them over in the first place. So there's a lot of stuff going on in there. So we're talking about, in the beginning, that you could meet the soulmate and he might not feel the same way about you. That's a mind warp in itself. But then you say that he might not feel that you're his soulmate, but he still loves you? What's going on? So it's another thing that just
but it's also something that a woman can relate to.
Right.
Feeling love that's not romantic love or love that's not soulmate love.
Yeah, and then, we say that it's even because you're not the perfect woman for him. And this is there's a lot of curiosity factors built in here, too. A good example, I think that I haven't seen this used, but it's probably being used and should be used, is in the credit repair market. I just got an amazing course on fixing credit because all the taxes stuff is not looking good. But
the IRS is brutal. You know what? You could have something that says, has the IRS brutalized your credit? ...
Yeah.
It's not your fault.
No doubt. But anyway, the interesting thing I learned, and I didn't know this at all, is that paying off your debts can actually make your credit score go down. And the reason why I see some people nodding their heads, and it's just like it was so mind-blowing when I learned that. And what it does is because I could have like a debt from 2003 that they wrote off as a charge-off, and then I call up, Sprint or whatever and be like, hey, I'm going to be a good Samaritan. I want to pay this thing off. And you go and pay it. And you know what it does? It goes, update, was delinquent, now paid off in June of 2008. And then it's on there, from June of 2008. It's like a recent thing that shows up as delinquent. It's going to last on there a lot longer than it would have.
Why did you wait till now to pay your bill for Sprint? Anyway,
While I'm in a public forum, though, I love to talk bad about Sprint any chance I get. It's the worst company I've ever done business with. Please, everyone, don't ever use Sprint.
And let's delete that from the video so we stay in business for another 40 minutes or so.
And I won't mention some of the domain names that I bought when I was really angry.
No, don't mention those here. You know what? We're out of time. I want to share one more thing. We're out of time. I want to share one more thing. What Craig's talking about here, my great friend Dean Jackson, he came up with a headline that is spectacular in the real estate and mortgage industry. And it's what you might consider to be a next-level headline that involves this kind of very insightful psychology. And it is how to buy any one of these River Oaks homes with zero down payment. Dash, even if you can afford to pay all cash. Okay, now think about this for a second. How to buy any one of these River Oaks homes with zero down payment. Great headline all by itself. Dash, even if you can afford to pay all cash. Why is that a next level headline? Why is that brilliant? Nice homes, high-end user. Nope. Why? Oh, who said it? Saves the humiliation. Okay, saves the humiliation. It's how to buy one of these homes with zero down payment. You're looking for a buyer who doesn't have any money. That's what the headline is about. You're attracting someone who doesn't have money. Even if you can afford to pay all cash, allows the person who doesn't have any cash to call and in the back of their mind be saying to themselves, you don't know if I'm a cash buyer or not. See, I might be rich. See, if someone calls on a how to buy a home with zero down payment ad, at some level, whether or not they have money, just by picking up the phone and starting to dial, they're admitting that they're broke. So you don't want to make your prospect admit that something's screwed up by taking action. Do you know what I'm saying? You don't want to make them wrong, so to speak. How to buy any one of these River Oaks homes with zero down payment, dash, even if you can afford to pay all cash. That comes from, literally, Dean is maybe the smartest marketing mind that I know. Him and Frank are they kind of compete for marketing riflemen. Everything Dean comes up with works the first time that he does it. Dean writes sales letters and makes a new business and launches it and it works and is making money. I go, hey dude, have you tested sales letter? And he's like, why would I do that? Exactly. Yeah. So,
hey, but I gotta give him this technique too
all right,
before we go.
All right.
So.
One last technique.
Yeah. I think actually this is like, you say the free line concept or whatever, you give away your best thing. I think this is my best thing, and I almost don't want to give it away. I think that's how you know if it's, something that you should.
Yeah.
But anyways, I came up with this headline formula, and I think it's really powerful. And Alex told me yesterday, I had no idea that was going on, but someone, I don't know what the market was. Is Alex around? Anyways, can you just say this?
Yep.
Yes, please. I don't even know the exact story. He just told me this yesterday.
The story is that up on the board at the Guru Mastermind site, Craig's got a formula for writing a sales letter. And a friend of mine in one of my other mastermind groups, Otto, he's got a number of websites, and he's hired some really, really high-profile copywriters to write his sales letters. names you would have heard of, major copywriters. And he's done respectably well, and he saw this thing up in the Guru Mastermind thing, and he followed Craig's formula exactly, and it's his best performing sales letter by far. He said it literally blew out of the water all the other professionally done ones because he did it himself, and he knows his prospects better than any of these professional copywriters. He really knows how to get into that prospect's head. He knows them, and by then applying Craig's formula, he was able to outperform all of these other people that he had hired.
Awesome. Yeah, that was great to hear. Thank you. Thank you. So I actually, and this is the headline formula that starts that all off. And it goes like this. Could it really be possible? And then you say something that sounds like, they might not believe. And you say the answer is yes, it could happen. So could it really be possible that your soulmate, the one man in the world you're meant to be with, would not feel the same way about you? Sadly, the answer is yes. So you can use this in any market, and I think it's a really powerful way to grab your prospect from the start. I mean, if we're talking about golf, could it really be possible to shave 10 strokes off your game in, less than working 7 minutes a day, in less than 3 weeks? The answer is yes, and, here's why. You can use this in any market, and, I don't know if it's going to be, I'm sure it's not going to be the best headline in every market, but it's definitely something to test. Definitely come up with a headline using this formula whenever market you're in, and run a split test, see how it does. And please let me know, actually, too. I'd love to know how it works in other markets, but I think it's a crusher. And it wouldn't surprise me if this headline formula starts popping up a lot, because, I think we were onto something here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. The doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good stuff. Good stuff.